Welcome to this week's edition of The Accomplished Woman with Cathy Mendell. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and it is my sincere pleasure to be able to introduce all of you to Cathy. She is the founder and president of Theia Financial. Cathy, my friend, this is such a treat. How are you doing this week?
Great. I'm so happy to be here. It's just so much fun to be able to talk about the successful retirement of accomplished women.
Oh, it really is. I could not be more thrilled to spend this time with you, and we are so excited that you are tuning in at home. You know, the reality is that a successful retirement isn't so much about how much you've saved over your lifetime, but it comes down to how you're going to be able to generate income for yourself in retirement. This is something that Cathy is an expert in. She is a seasoned senior business executive. She's run several successful companies, and now it's her joy to be able to share this incredible knowledge with you on how you, as an accomplished woman, can build your successful retirement. So, my gosh, so much to start, but it's all about income, isn't it?
It's all about income. It's the security of knowing that that income's going to be there, that it's going to be enough, that you know it will be there when you're ready for it. So there's a lot. We'll have a lot to talk about today.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that comes with that peace of mind and that certainty of knowing you're going to be okay. I think that's what a lot of women are really concerned about.
I think so too. And I have a phrase that says, women want to know that they know. They're going into retirement with an unknown. You don't really know how this is going to work out. It is.
There's enough unknowns in life,
there's
right?
There's enough unknowns, yes, and that is not where we want to be.
Exactly, exactly.
So,
well, what is the first place to start when you're generating an income plan for a woman and helping them know if they're going to be okay and if they're going to be fine in retirement?
Yeah, so, you know, I think that, first of all, just thinking about, when we're talking about accomplished women, who are we actually talking about? We're talking about women who in their own life, they have made things happen. They know how to make things happen. They know how to make decisions.
Yes.
They've maybe climbed the corporate ladder or maybe not. But one thing they have all done is they have saved money.
Right.
And they have been working for decades going forward, working to get themselves to a place where they could, in fact, have this conversation about what's the next step. And in fact, as we named our firm, Theia Financial, Theia was the goddess of vision. She's a Greek goddess of vision. And over the years, as I've worked with women, the one thing that I would say is that they want to be able to see clearly. They want clarity and confidence. They want to be certain about the future. They really don't like walking into, going from an accomplished person, an accomplished career, you know, in charge of their life, walking into a space that they don't really understand.
Right.
That's not a great place to be when you're going into retirement.
No, it's not a good feeling, and I know that's what you love to help solve
I
for
do.
women.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most common concerns that you're hearing from women that you're meeting with when it comes specifically to their retirement?
Yeah, so I have done some very unofficial polls. Okay, so I will tell you right now, these are not thousands of women. These are women that have come into my office and also women that have attended some of our webinars. And I always like to ask this poll. So I ask 5 questions, okay, and I have them written down. What concerns you? When you think about moving into retirement, are you concerned about being bored? Okay. Having resources for health care, resources when you're older, running out of money,
right?
Making a bad investment decision, or having enough income to live the way they want. Okay, so the unofficial results, this has to do with a pool of people that I'm talking to, right? The unofficial results is no one was concerned about being bored. Okay,
that doesn't really shock me too much.
That was a total zero.
I didn't even know how to be bored, right?
I know,
Do you?
right? No, none of them had that problem.
Right.
The other thing that did surprise me was they weren't concerned about having resources for healthcare support for themselves when they were older. Now, I think that wasn't their most pressing concern. But many women have that as one of their priorities, is being sure they're going to be buttoned up that way. 20% were worried about running out of money. Okay, so 20%. 30% were worried about making a bad investment decision. But a whopping 50% were concerned about having enough income to live the way they want to live. And you know, to me, that's a pretty big deal. 50% of the people moving into retirement, if I could just extrapolate that number and say this is probably representative of the whole, being concerned that I don't know if I can live the way I want to live. if you're giving up a paycheck and you're moving into a retirement phase of life and you don't think you can live the way you want to live, that's not a very aspirational moment in your life, right? That doesn't really get you to where you want to be.
Actually, it's the opposite of confidence and clarity, right?
Right.
We don't want to go there.
Yeah. So I think women kind of intuitively know that this is an area they've really got to address. And what we know is that about 8 out of 10, now this is a study done by the Alliance for Retirement Income. 8 out of 10 pre-retirees do not have a plan to solve this problem.
Isn't that heartbreaking to hear?
It really is, and you wonder why. Well, I think there's a lot of confusion around what a plan is.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about that. How do you define a plan at Theia Financial? Because I know that's what you're really passionate about, is helping women develop a solid plan for their retirement.
And here's the deal. It needs to be a plan that they absolutely understand. They can talk about it to their family. They know what's going to happen. Most people, when they come back from a visit with their financial advisor, they can't do that. They can say, well, we're diversified.
Right.
That's their plan.
And there's different definitions of that, right?
Okay, so here's what a plan is not. It is not a stack of investment statements. That is not a plan.
Right.
That's the resources, but that has nothing to do with being able to live the way you want to live in retirement. Right. What a plan is it's actually going to address 5 areas. Now, whoever you work with, they need to be well versed in all of these areas. So the first one is always income.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is that in a lot of cases, it's actually done backwards. You have these investments, we're going to invest them this way, and then you try to figure out what rate of or what percentage of that can you withdraw for life and not run out of money. Well, that's not the way I see it. Okay,
this is going to be good. So, yeah, tell us.
So what I say is, let's figure out what the income piece needs to be, and then let's position your assets so that it delivers that income.
Right.
Okay.
That just makes a lot of sense.
That's a big difference in what normally happens.
Yes.
So the first question is knowing what the income need is. The second question is on the investments then. The investments need to support the income plan, not the other way around. And most of the time it is done backwards. Okay. The third thing is proactive tax planning. Now the reason we talk about that is that taxes are actually one of your biggest expenses in retirement. And proactive tax planning says, let's figure out how we're going to construct this income plan so that you have the least tax exposure. Because the fact is, the less amount of taxes you pay, the longer your money lasts.
That's just a fact.
It is what it is. Okay, if I don't have to pay as much in taxes, I don't have to take such big withdrawals. Right? And then the fourth thing is healthcare. Now, healthcare, you might be thinking, how does that work into the plan? Well, let's say I'm 58 and I want to retire. And Medicare is not for 60 until I'm 65, right? I have a gap there I need to figure out. Well, let's get creative about your income so that it causes your healthcare to be less expensive. That's one thing. The second thing is navigating the ABCs of healthcare with Medicare.
Oh gosh, the
Plan
A,
soup, Plan B, what does all this cost? I would tell you that no one that I have spoken with in the last year could actually tell me what it was going to cost them to go on to Medicare. And if you don't know and you haven't factored that into your spending, a lot of people think it's free. Well, it is not free.
It is not.
So Plan A is free, but the rest of it costs you. So, educating people on what their options are, what it covers and what it doesn't cover.
Yes.
I always say Medicare doesn't cover anything on your head, okay? It doesn't cover your vision, your hearing, or your teeth.
Your teeth, yes. Right? Important things.
I mean, those things... Dental expenses can be really expensive.
Astronomical.
And people don't, a lot of times, people don't understand that. And then the other thing is having money that's going to take care of you in your elder years. We're all going to get old someday, hopefully.
Yes.
And especially if you're a single, widowed or divorced woman, you want to remain independent your whole life. You don't want to be dependent on other people if you can keep from it, which means you need to have resources for that. And finally is estate planning. So estate planning has to do with your beneficiaries, okay? Making sure that's right. I actually worked with someone the other day, and her ex-husband was still on one of her accounts of 26 years
That's so
later.
Common, though.
It's very common. It's very common. But also having a healthcare and advance directive, having the power of attorneys put into place that need to be, and then of course your will or your trust. All of that is things that people have on their checklist, and they just haven't gotten to it. Okay? So there's a huge disconnect between what needs to be done and for many people what's actually happening.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And I love that you're a one-stop shop for people. You're able to sit down and really build all these elements together because they do fit together and they are so important, and you can't have a solid plan without addressing each one of them.
It's my opinion that if you're going to be advising in this space, that you better be educated as an advisory company, as an advisory team. I'm very big on that, is being current with current law, understanding what needs to happen so that people can have confidence. And it's like I was helping a gal with an estate plan the other day, and she said, I said, well, you know, she needed something. She didn't have a will or anything. And I said, well, this needs to get done. And she says, I'd just as soon stay with you and get everything under one roof. And I thought, you know, that's, I mean, not every firm can offer that, but we do.
Absolutely. Well, I do know we're going to have to go to a quick commercial
Okay.
break, but I know a lot of women are probably watching and going, gosh, well, these are things that maybe they're already working with another financial advisor, but they're not addressing all these different aspects that you wrap up into a financial plan for someone. So if someone's watching today and they want to get connected with you, what do they need to do?
Yeah, so what we do is our first visit is very simply a Zoom call, and you can call 866-724-4927 and just set it up. We'll have someone answering the call. They'll put it right into the calendar. We'll figure it out. You can also use the QR code and do it yourself. But it's a Zoom call, and what we're going to do is just get acquainted. We're going to talk about your hopes and your dreams. We're going to look at your financial story together, answer any questions that you may have, and then explore where you're at in this financial planning process. And I would love to do that with you. 866-724-4927.
Cathy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we encourage you to make this important phone call to get on Cathy's schedule and have this complimentary Zoom call. You're also welcome to scan that QR code. Simply take out your smartphone, scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few simple questions, and a member of Theia Financial's team will be able to reach out to you to schedule your complimentary call with Cathy that way as well. We have so much more to cover about generating a successful income for yourself in retirement. Stay with us.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to The Accomplished Woman with Cathy Mendell. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. And Cathy, what an amazing conversation we're having today about the importance of developing a plan for retirement, and specifically how accomplished women can generate a successful income for themselves in retirement.
Right.
There's an interesting stat I know you wanted to share about the lack of planning currently happening today for people.
Well, we've been talking about, in the previous segment, we were talking about what's involved in a plan.
Yes.
So many people would say, well, I just thought having money was my plan. Okay. But if you actually have a well thought out plan, what it says is that you know what's going to happen and when.
Right.
You know when you're going to turn on Social Security. You know when we're going to start withdrawing from which accounts. You know how much income you're going to have. So that's really important. There was a study done recently from the Alliance for Lifetime Income, and they said 25% of pre-retirees don't have a plan of any kind. They don't have a plan.
Right.
35% say they have a direction in mind, but they don't have, it's not a well-developed plan. 20% say they have a general financial plan, but they don't feel it goes deep enough.
Right.
So that means that only 20% left actually have this nailed.
Yeah.
That's a big gap.
It's a huge
That's a lot
gap.
of people wondering how this is all going to work out in the future. So that's why I believe it's really important to work with someone and take the time to think this all out and have it documented so that you can understand it.
Well, and I think as women, we want to know that we can work with someone that we can trust, who's going to have our best interests at mind, to be able to tell us exactly, okay, this is what you need to do. Here's the plan, right? What to do, how to do it, when to do it. And that's what you're talking about here. Yeah. And so I know that you've worked with a lot of folks. Do you have a good story of someone you've been able to help with this planning process?
I just want to tell you about Tina and Luigi.
Okay.
So Luigi had been listening to our show, and he called for an appointment. And when he came on, first of all, he's just a lovely man. And he had retired at 65, but his wife refused to retire.
Okay, she wanted to keep working, all right.
It wasn't because she didn't like him. It's because she didn't have the confidence that if she gave up her paycheck, that they could live their retirement lifestyle that they wanted. So Luigi came in, and he was really sad about this. So for 2 years, he had been retired. Tina would not retire. So as we got to work with them, what I realized was there was a lack of clarity. She could not see how all these pieces were going to come together.
Right.
So what happened was, as we started, as the second appointment, they both came together, and I talked her through the process of helping her clarify in her mind, well, what does a successful retirement look like to you? Because you see, Tina really enjoyed going out. She really wanted to pamper her grandchild. They only had one. And they liked it. She wanted to travel, and she did not want to give that up to sit home feeling stressed about money.
Right.
So their resources were, they had the Social Securities, but Luigi had a small pension, and the rest of it was going to have to come out of savings, okay, or their retirement assets, 401ks and whatnot. Now, here was the problem. This is what Tina said. She goes, no offense to Luigi, but I cannot possibly stake my entire retirement happiness on that stack of investment statements on his desk. She goes, it's not against Luigi, but he doesn't understand this any better than I do. So here they are sitting there. She won't give up her job.
Right.
He's really sad because he retired, thought they were going to run off into the wild blue yonder, right?
And enjoy the
and nothing's happening. So what we ended up doing was, the first thing I did is I had them go home and figure out actually how much after-tax income do you need on a monthly basis to live this life that you have in your mind, that you have in your heart? And this was mostly on Tina's side, because Luigi felt like, hey, if the market goes down, we just take less income.
Right.
Not.
Yeah. that was not her plan.
That was not going to fly with Tina. So what we ended up doing was, they came back with a number that said, you know what, we need X amount. We took the pool of assets that they had, all the Social Security, his pension, and we divided it up, and we ended up with 2 buckets of money. We put enough money into one that would give them their income for life, so they wouldn't have to worry about this anymore. The rest of it was for fun, for enjoyment, for happiness, for traveling, for whatever they wanted it to be.
Right.
That totally took the pressure off. She did end up quitting her job.
Good for her.
And they have been retired. Every time I see her, she's just got this huge grin on her face. It's so much fun. But you know, this is the real life struggles that people have when they don't have a plan, when they don't know how to put all the pieces together.
For sure.
And that's really when this happens right, you just see the stress melt off of somebody.
Yes.
It is so beautiful.
There's such a peace of mind that comes with that. I mean, really, you're in the business of helping folks get that peace of mind.
And you know, when I first started in my career in finance, what I discovered was that people that came in to see me that had a pension, they had that peace of mind. They didn't have to worry about an income, because they were getting everything they had was guaranteed.
Right.
So if the market was down, it was like, oh yeah, it's down. I haven't looked for a while. And everybody else is chewing their fingernails and terrified. And this is why Tina wouldn't leave her job, because she didn't know what the market was going to do, and it's out of her control.
Well, and that just speaks to the change that happened, right? I mean, unless some people do still have a pension, but gone are the days where retirement, we can trust that a company is going to pay us for the rest of our lives.
Exactly.
That burden was put on us, and without any instructions on what to do with that or how to do that, right?
Yeah, and I think the more complicated that financial advisors make that, it seems like it's more valuable, but that's actually the opposite. I think that women have a desire, or at least I wouldn't say just women, any gender, but they want to understand how their money's going to work.
Yes.
It's not about having something to talk about on the golf course, okay?
Right.
This is having something to talk about at home,
yes.
right? So the way that you get started with that is the spending plan. You basically break up your income needs into 3 categories: needs, wishes, and wants. Now, the needs are the basics. These are the things that I call them the non-negotiables.
Right.
These are things that have to get paid every month. no matter what,
Yes.
right? Your mortgage, your
groceries,
food, and, all of that.
Yep.
And you get that number together, and then you add to that your lifestyle. So it could be pickleball, it could be, you know, gardening, it could be travel, it could be whatever it is.
Spoiling the grandkids,
spoiling the grandkids.
Yes.
But figure it out so that you know, okay, this is what it costs us to live, but I want an extra $1,500 a month to be able to do the things I want to do. And then the wants are the things, the bigger things, like the trip to Europe and the second home and the
wishes,
RV and replacing a vehicle and all of that sort of thing.
Right.
If you have that bucketed out properly, then you can solve for income. And that's how you know if you have enough money to retire.
I mean, what a gift for someone to go from that unknown, that uncertainty, still working. Maybe a lot of people, they don't enjoy their job, but they're stuck there because they feel like they can't retire, and you're able to make it work and say, look, you actually can. You can go ahead and enjoy your life now.
You know what, speaking of that, there's a lot of stress around this. Let's say that you're a single woman and you are a nurse or in some field, and maybe you've been there 30 years. And you're ready, you're tired of it. You really don't want to be going to work anymore. But because you don't know the answers to these questions, every day you go into work, it's like, I don't want to be here, and I'm here,
and
but
I feel trapped.
I feel trapped. I don't. This is not how I wanted this to end. When you get your plan in place, and my thing is, you should start planning when you're, I mean, the earlier the better,
right?
So that you have the information that you need to make good decisions about your future, right? If you know that, okay, I've worked with Cathy and her team and our team of fiduciary advisors, we craft out whatever it is, we work together till it's right. And then if you adopt the plan, what happens from there, you go into work and you have an end date in sight.
Yes.
And you already know how that's going to come together. That's lovely.
That light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Oh my gosh. And not having that could be tough.
For sure.
So.
Well, for those who are watching who are craving that light at the end of the tunnel, I know you would love to connect with them.
I would.
So talk about how they can do that.
Yeah, so how we start with this is we just get together on a phone call. Our company is a virtual company nationwide. And we do that because we want to make it as easy and convenient for you to have an authentic relationship with somebody that you see face to face. We're just not sipping on a cup of coffee together, okay? But you can call 866-724-4927. And what we'll do is we'll get on the phone together. Actually, I prefer Zoom because I really like to see you and for you to meet me in person. Kind of in person, actually, but meet me in person. What we're going to do is we're just going to have a wonderful conversation about who you are, where you're at in your life, tell your financial story. We'll talk about the things that are on your mind, and then we'll just begin to discover where are you at, what needs to happen. A lot of people will come with a very specific set of questions. Have I saved enough money, and can I retire? And we want to help you answer those questions. Now, we're not going to do that on the first call. In fact, on this call, there are no decisions or there's nothing to be sold or anything, no big decisions to be made. This is a call to get acquainted and discover, is this something we want to pursue together? Because we would be honored to do that with you.
Cathy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to set up your complimentary Zoom call with Cathy, 866-724-4927, or you're welcome to scan that QR code to get connected on her calendar as well. We know that a lot of women have concerns about retirement, especially as studies show that we tend to outlive men in our lives. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the unique challenges that women face in their older years if you are single, divorced, widowed, so you don't want to miss it. Stay with us.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to The Accomplished Woman. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and I'm joined today by Cathy Mendell. She is the founder and president of Theia Financial. And Cathy, before the break, you shared a wonderful story about a couple you were able to help. And I know you work with a lot of married couples, but I also know that you work with a lot of single women, women who have been divorced or widowed. And so talk to me about some of the financial planning that needs to be taken into consideration, because you and I both know that there's some unique challenges that come with that stage of life.
Well, there are. And, you know, if you have been through, you know, a loss of a spouse, or you're single or whatever, the difference between a couple and a single person, a couple, there's 2 Social Securities. Okay?
Right.
So that's kind of, there may be a pension for one of you. There's 2 retirement accounts. All right? When you're single, married or widowed or divorced, there's usually one of all of those things. There's particular strategies, though, that we can take into account, like with Social Security claiming strategies. If you're a widow, there's things that, you know, there's timing, there's earnings limits, but there's things that we can do to help you build that Social Security retirement benefit.
Right.
I think the thing about women who are single is that, you know, it's all on your shoulders. Okay, so when we're working with somebody that is single, for many people, it's absolutely the way that they want to live. It's lovely, they're very happy, but there's a lot of anxiety about being completely and 100% responsible for this area of their life.
Absolutely.
When you are putting together a plan, I think the key that you want to look at is the question that most of them has is how long do I need to work? What will be how can I organize my assets so that my income is right? I don't want to run out of money. They have the same concerns as everybody else, but it's a little more intense because it's really all on them.
Right.
So what I would say is that when you're thinking about going forward with putting your plans together for retirement, the things you want to look at is you need a plan.
Yes.
Okay, you've got to have a plan. You can't wing this. You can't hope for the best and let luck take over. There's too much in the world that you're not in control of. And so it's so important that you become in control of this. I have a saying that I absolutely love, and it says, what you hope for is attainable. And I would love to be that person that walks alongside of you and make it attainable. If you'd like to have a conversation, the number to call is 866-724-4927. 866-724-4927.
Cathy, thank you so much. What a treat to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to future episodes as well.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for watching at home. We hope you found this show to be very helpful and informative, and we encourage you, you don't have to do this alone. You might feel alone in this, but Cathy is waiting and ready to help you. Call 866-724-4927. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.